It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Life University head men's wrestling coach, Coach Omar Acosta. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college wrestling?
Yeah, it happened. I got my undergrad in criminal justice and Spanish, and I wanted to be a police officer. That's what I wanted to go to school for. But it took me a little bit longer to finish school. It took me 5 years to get my bachelor's degree. And my last year at Grandview, I was a student assistant coach. So basically, that year I was involved in all the operations of a you know top tier NAIA program, and I just fell in love with how my coach carried himself and how both my two coaches there at that time, Paul Reedy and Nick Mitchell. I just loved their passion about their job, and I felt like I could do something like that as well, and not have to go back to Miami and become a police officer. So it was kind of like last minute thing.
What was your wrestling time like wrestling for Grandview?
Oh man, those I could say they were the best times of my life. If I could do it again, I will do it again. I met some of my best friends. I had some great experiences. I was able to become a man and mature in the great state of Iowa. And it was just a great time to be there, man. It was a time where Grammy was developing to what it is now. And I was happy that I was be able to be part of it and be around some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life.
While at Grandview, what was that experience like putting on that singlet and representing the wrestling program?
You know, in the beginning, when I first got there, I didn't really understand, what it was to wear a Grammy singlet. I didn't respect it to the much of my ability, honestly, and it took me a little bit to buy in to the championship lifestyle. So after I bought in and I really believed in what the GV in your chest stands for, I really took off, and it was a privilege and it was a great thing to do to go to war with your best friends. That was the type of atmosphere that we had at that time.
While in college, what were some of your biggest accomplishments on the wrestling mat?
The biggest accomplishment for me was getting a college degree. I know it doesn't have to do much with wrestling, but to me it was important. That was why I decided to compete in college. It was to not be like, I was like the first generation college student from my family to get a degree, and I wanted to make sure to do that. Wrestling was just, the icing on the cake, and I was able to win two national titles. I won one in junior college, and I won one in junior college at Wabansi Community College, and another one on the national title at Grandview, 133 pounds. So it was great. It was a great experience, but it's not about the championship. It's what I became, throughout that process. That's what the most memorable thing for me.
What was that experience like for you getting to win that championship for Grandview?
It was pretty awesome, man. Like I said, I was battling with the best friends, that we trained together. We lived the right lifestyle. We preached championship lifestyle. We all made lifestyle changes to be great. So it was great. It was just kind of like if you look at one of those interviews that I did after, I didn't even have feelings to describe how great it felt to win a championship. Not just because I won it, but because we won it as a team, and that's something that's memorable. That's something that I will tell my kids one day. That's something that I will take it with me forever. It was awesome.
Coming out of college, what was it like getting into college coaching and going to Coast Guard Academy?
Coast Guard Academy was one of the most growing times for me. It was the first time that that I left my comfort zone, which was Des Moines, Iowa, and I went to to live in New London, Connecticut, and I was under a great coach, Coach Bratlin. He mentored me, and he was a big asset in my life, in my coaching career. He made me a better coach. He made me a better recruiter. Recruiting at the Coast Guard Academy is really tough, so I learned multiple things from that guy, and I'm extremely thankful for Coach Bratlin. If you're listening, man, like big shout out to you. I will not be here where I am without you and your guidance. And even though I was only there for a little bit, I probably got the most meaningful coaching experience at the Coast Guard Academy.
While at the Coast Guard Academy, what was that like getting to coach those prospective athletes that were going to go in and serve our country one day?
Man, those men are complete, sorry for the language, badasses, man. They're able to do a lot of things. They wake up early in the morning, they got to make their bed, they got to go different activities that are required by the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, and they have to maintain a high GPA. The academics are extremely tough, and on top of wrestling. So, I have nothing but respect for those guys, and I still stay, in contact with some of those guys, and most of them are like pilots. They're out in Hawaii and cool areas of the world securing our border. So it was definitely a blessing that I was able to be a little part of Coast Guard wrestling. Now they're pretty tough. They're taking off and they're doing really well in their division. And I still follow them, how they're doing, because even though I was there for a short period of time, I learned a lot and I grew a lot as a man over there.
What was that experience like for you returning back to your alma mater of Grandview and getting to coach?
It was bittersweet. It's always good to come back to your comfort zone. And being away in New England, the snow and all that stuff was kind of tough. So being back to Iowa was just still cold and, you know, tough winters. It was a good change as I just got to be around, my friends and my old coaches, and I got to learn a little bit more on what it's like to run a successful NAIA program. So it was just a learning experience. I just kept learning. I kept asking questions. I kept putting myself in a good situation where I could potentially land a coaching job someday.
For you, what was that feeling like stepping back onto that wrestling mat, but now as a coach at your alma mater?
Oh man, it was cool. Number one, we wrestled in the small room that we had. I love that little room. And then when I came back, they were in a state of the art facility, for full mats. So it was pretty sweet. It was awesome. That's the number one thing that I could remember. And number two, just surrounding myself with Coach Reedy and Coach Mitchell and learning, from those guys. Also Coach Turner and all those other Grandview coaches that were there mentoring me. And they put me under their wing and they taught me what's right and they taught me what's wrong. So it was a good experience.
While at Grandview, what was that experience like coaching three national championship teams?
It was awesome, because like I work out with a lot of those guys that help compete and win those titles. Like I put my body and soul into those guys, and selfishly doing whatever was needed for Grandview, and I felt good. When you go out and you're committed and good things happen, it makes you feel good. And I'm extremely proud of all those guys that were on those teams. It was a great time, and it was a lot of fun. Those guys bought in, they lived the championship lifestyle, and they did everything that was asked. So it was just a good time. They were respectful and great people.
What was that experience like coming to Life University and being a head coach for the first time?
Oh man, that was I was about 25 when I got the Life U coaching job. Shout out to Jimmy Pendergast, the AD here at Life. She gave me a shot. She gave me a chance. That's all I really needed. I believe that you make your own fate. And I came down here, and in the beginning, I was a little skeptic about it. Life University is known just for chiropractic, but as soon as I got down here, I found out that Life is more than chiropractic. There's a lot of other programs, and there's great things that we have to offer. And in the beginning, was rough because I was playing comparison games. I'm thinking, oh, why Grandview does this or why Coast Guard has that and then we don't have it. When I got the job here at LifeU, we didn't have a wrestling room. We're rolling mats out every day, and it was tough. It was hard. It was hard to recruit. There was also an instance that put a little dark cloud on our program for a little bit. That was kind of tough for me. As a 25-year-old, college coach that didn't have much experience to go through stuff, and a little dark place in my coaching career. But as soon as that dark cloud left, we continued to get better. We continued to recruit. I continued to recruit good coaches. I continued to get good people around me. And as time went on, I just kept putting my head down and going to work. And now look where we are. We're a competitive, top tier NAIA program in the country, and we'll continue to get better.
As a head coach, what was that experience like, as you said, recruiting not just the athletes, but also coaches to surround you?
You know, when I was at Grandview, I noticed that Coach Mitchell only surrounds himself with winners, with people that want to compete at a high level. So I'm kind of that same way. I don't want to hang out with losers or people that have poor mentalities. I want to hang out with people that lift me, people that encourage me, people that challenge me. I don't want people that just tell me I say something and they're like, okay, whatever Coach O says. I want to be challenged as a coach. So I surrounded myself with a great staff. We got Cole Mannion, my right hand man. I found him at a camp in South Georgia, Camden County, and I saw him teaching technique, and at that time Cole wanted to go into the Coast Guard full, and I told him, man, you should just come to Life U and check it out for a little bit, and then he came in, he believed in the dream, he bought into the dream, and now he's here, and same thing with Coach Bailey. I wrestled him. He was a two-time All-American for me. He's a police officer. He's kind of like in and out. And then I told him, hey man, I need you to commit and be fully in. And since then, Coach Bailey's been in and out. And I could go on and on about our coaching staff. We got Coach Early, NAIA national champion, Indiana Tech. And if you look at our roster, like our coaches roster is probably one of the best in small college wrestling. We got some great people, some great coaches that support me. And talking about kids that want to come here, I want to recruit guys that want to live the right lifestyle. I want to recruit guys that like to fight, that enjoy the intensity of wrestling, and they love wrestling as a whole, and they want to be good people as a whole. So those are the type of kids and people that I want to surround myself. I don't want losers. I want people that want to fight and get what they want.
As a head coach, what was that feeling like the first time you got to step onto a wrestling mat as a head coach at Life?
Scary, I think my first duel, we're going to Troy McConnell, which is an hour away from here, and I was late to my first duel, and we wrestled really good. NAIA team were late. The coach, they didn't want to let us weigh in, and then we ended up weighing in. I told him, hey man, I don't know the traffic patterns here. I don't know if you guys know, but Atlanta traffic could be crazy. And it was, when I checked the night before, it was an hour. Then when we were taking off in the morning, it ended up being an hour 45 to an hour 50. So we're a little bit late. We show up. It was pretty crazy, pretty hectic. Got my guys weighed in, and the coach didn't want to weigh us in. But anyways, we ended up winning. And that duel we wrestled Campbellsville and Trent McConnell, and we won both of those duels. So they're pretty memorable because I was late, and I remember that like today. It was embarrassing because I hate being late.
What does a typical wrestling match look like for you as a head coach versus for your wrestlers?
Like we don't like focusing on winning or losing. I think that's a byproduct of our work. I think we focus on the fight. Lucha, that's something that you see everywhere. Lucha basically means fight in Spanish or wrestle. So we just worry about our efforts, about how aggressive and how competitive we are. We don't worry about winning or losing. And I want my guys to just enjoy themselves, let themselves go, and just focus on the fight. Focus on the fight. Winning will take care of itself.
As a head coach, what was it like getting to go to back championships?
I mean, that's just hard work, man. It's just byproduct of everyday constant growth. It's a byproduct of my guys buying in. It's a product of my coaches buying in. It's a product of me trying to be the best coach that I could be every day. It's just a daily thing. Every day is a reminder that's a new day and new goals to achieve every day. There's some competition that's trying to get you. So every day you have to make sure you're doing the best that you can on and off the mat. And that's kind of like the mentality that we have. Winning is cool. Yeah, getting trophies is awesome, but it's all about the experience and the the experience that we're giving these athletes. We want to make sure it's meaningful and it's something that they get to experience. I want to make sure that every guy that wrestles at Life University gets a championship experience. They get to compete for something bigger than themselves, and that's what it's all about. That's the thing that they're gonna remember. They're not gonna remember the trophy. They're gonna remember the experience, the meaningful athlete experience they had here at Life U, and that's what we want to do, and that's what we continue to do and strive for.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
In the conference, we have Reinhardt. We're down the street. They're a worthy rival. They're good. They're always tough. And Southeastern, they're down in Florida. So those are the two main teams that we compete against in our conference. And Florida, Southeastern being in Florida, I'm a Florida, Miami guy. I like to continue to beat them. I like to continue to stay on top just because it's my home state. And I don't want to lose to somebody from my home state. So we continue to get better. We continue to wrestle them tough, but they're both worthy rivals. They're good. They challenge us and they keep us on our toes. So I'm extremely thankful for Reinhardt and for Southeastern. They keep us on our toes, man. And that's what competition is.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built as a head coach for life?
Can you repeat that again?
Can you talk about the culture that you've built for the wrestling program at life?
Yeah. Culture is good. It's our identity. It's what we identify as, and our culture is, we're student athletes first, and the next thing is that we don't focus on the results. We just focus on our effort. If every day we focus on our effort and we're getting better every day, we're gonna have positive results. We don't worry about anybody else. I like to think my guys to focus on themselves and have tunnel vision because we have 10, 12 guys with tunnel vision focusing on their craft. Imagine how great we could be. So our culture is just based upon fight. Wake up every day and that's one of the God-given talents that God gave us. Every day we get to choose what we want to fight for. And every day we choose to be great. Every day we choose to represent Life University to the best of our ability. So that's kind of like the culture that we're having instilled in our guys. And that's what we mentor. That's what we preach every day. Be the best that you could be every day, regardless of how you feel.
What does a typical home wrestling match look like at Life University?
Oh, our home duels are pretty intense. They're pretty awesome. I like to think. Our gyms get sold out. Our gym is packed. We got a spotlight. We got bleachers all around. We sell popcorn, great concessions. So it's intense. People don't want to come wrestle us over here. Just because we have a really good environment, and I want to bring people here and wrestle them here. And it's good for the school. It's good for the state of Georgia and it's good for all around.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to wrestle on the college level?
I look for good people. I look for good people, and I also give chances. So it's kind of like it's a balance. I have to be able to balance it. So we give chances to first generation college students or people from rough neighborhoods and rough areas. We give them chances and we mentor them and make sure they become good people, end up getting a degree and being first generation college students just like me. I like finding and identifying guys that remind me of myself or my coaching staff and we go and search for those type of kids and bring them here because I know they'll fit right into the culture. Wrestling accomplishments are great. We do recruit high level accomplishments, but one thing that you cannot teach is fight. So if I go recruiting, I see a guy that's like, even if he's losing, he's fighting and he's intense. I'm gonna go for after that kid because fighting and having that heart to be able to overcome adversity sometimes cannot be taught. So we look for those type of kids that have a little chip on their shoulder and they like to get after it. Those are the type of kids that we want. Those are the type of kids I want to surround myself with. Because those kids will end up being winners. And like I said, I love winners. I love hanging out with winners. So that's what we want.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those prospective student athletes fall in love with the wrestling facility and the campus?
In the beginning, like I said, when we first started at LifeU, I had to just sell the dream. The dream was like, hey, one day we're gonna get this facility. One day is that, and I was selling the dream pretty well. And finally, we were able to get the rep center, which is a state of the art facility, two and a half full wrestling mats, weight room right next to it, locker room, conference room. So it's a great facility. I mean, if you come to LifeU and you visit it, you'll really get to see how beautiful our campus is. And the best way to see it is to be here. If I get a guy that comes from anywhere and he visits campus, he's gonna fall in love with campus because I know what we got to offer. And I really believe in the product that we have at Life University. And if I believe in the product that we have, that means that I could sell anybody how great we are. We have great facilities, we got great professors, we got great administration. We're located right outside of Atlanta. The airport is not too far away. You want to watch any professional game, you could go. Whatever type of food you're looking for, you can find it here in the ATL. The ATL to me is one of the best cities that you could possibly live in because it's full of opportunities. And if you're a college kid and you don't know what you want to do, come to ATL. You're going to find great opportunities and you're going to find a job where you can be able to, support your family. And that's something that not a lot of schools get to offer. We got small college with big city opportunities, and it's a great selling point.
As a head coach for the men's wrestling, what is that experience like having a women's wrestling program too and having Coach Ashley there too?
Oh, Coach Ashley, it's a hammer. She's awesome. She's always recruiting. She's doing well. She does whatever she does it well. I don't really work with the girls like directly, but I could see their work. I could see the efforts, and they represent Life University to the best of their ability. I believe she's doing well for the team. She's doing well for the university. She's a good co-worker, and when we work together, we're good. So I think she's just a badass. She's a winner. So that's all I could say.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing your freshmen put on that singlet and represent life for the first time?
They earned it. If a freshman puts a Life U singlet and he's wearing it, that means he earned it. He's a bad dude. He's ready to go. So like it's pretty hard to start here as a true freshman. So if you come in as a true freshman and you put a Life U singlet in a match in a duel, and you start, we know that he's ready. He has what it takes academically and wrestling wise.
What is that like as a head coach seeing those seniors put on that singlet for the last time representing Life U?
It's sad because I will not see him again, and they're probably not. Their careers are done, so it's kind of sad, but it's also fulfilling. They went through college. They're getting close to graduating, which is the most important part of college athletics, and they love what they're doing. So when's the last time you see them at the national finals or All American run wearing that singlet? It's a sweet moment. It brings tears to my eyes because it brings me nothing but pure joy because they made it to the finish line, and their experience was meaningful, and those guys that don't that don't go to nationals or anything and get to wear the conference, the single at another event is the same thing. Sometimes God has different things in store for you. Sometimes for you is to be All American or national champ. For you is to get a degree and better your family situation. So it's a blessing, however you see it. So we're trying to make sure we mentor that to our guys that everybody's success doesn't have to look the same. Success is different for every person, every individual we have on the team, and we just have to make sure we applaud. When somebody makes a great thing when they graduate or they become an All American, we celebrate it because it's great. This is what it's all about.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those seniors go on and going into professional wrestling, whether it's AEW or WWE?
So far, we haven't had anybody go to the big steps like that, but we have a couple guys that are big. Hopefully Zane, if he's listening to this, he's big or heavyweight. He could be probably pretty good in WWE or one of those professional wrestlers. But since we're a fairly new program, Life University Wrestling is only, 11, 12 years old or so. Our alumni is still, we're still working on it. So we don't have that many, but as we get older and we get more guys, I believe that we'll have some guys that will be able to step into that field.
What are some of your future plans for the program moving forward?
My future plans, like I'm more of a mindful type of guy. Like I worry about, not too much far in the future, just what I have in my moment right now. So for the program is just going to continue to build men of character on and off the mat every day. And if we do that greatly, then I guess we'll be competing for something we never had before. And that's what it's all about. So right now I'm just focusing on today and what I could do today for the program, make it better, and then tomorrow will be the same, one day at a time. That's how winning is done. If we start focusing on things that are way out of our control, way far away, it's really hard to attain those goals. I'm focusing on how I can make small goals every day to get to the big goal rather than putting that big goal ahead of me. So that's kind of how I do for my mindset, and that's how kind of do my coaching. So that's we just wait and we're mindful, and we pray and we make sure that we're doing everything right.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college wrestling?
It's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be easy, but when you're done, you're gonna be a bad man. You're gonna be successful. So that's what I tell them. Hey man, when I recruit a kid, I don't lie to them because I don't like sugarcoating or telling them, hey, if you come here, it's gonna be unicorns and rainbows. You're gonna be every goal you want is gonna be reached. Now, I'm not that type of guy. I'm not a car salesman like some coaches are. I'm gonna tell them how it is. You're gonna come here. You're gonna be loved. You're gonna work hard, right? And after you see that you're being loved, work hard, then more things are going to be able to come to your hand. We talk about care, commit, compete. That's kind of like our principles of our team. If you come here and you care, commit, compete, coaches are going to love you. Coaches are going to make sure they have your best interests in mind, and we're going to push you to be the best that you could be. So we have the cheat code for them to do care, commit, compete. Then the coaches are going to love you. They're going to make sure you're good, and they're going to make sure that you're able to graduate and compete at a high level. So that's kind of what I tell the guys that we're recruiting, to keep it simple so they know they know that they have what it takes, or they could go somewhere else if it's not what they seem fit for themselves.
What advice would you give those seniors out there looking to compete in professional wrestling, whether it's AEW or WWE?
Right now, we don't have, like I said, Zane probably is the only one that probably wants to, but a lot of our guys are graduating and getting, they're stepping away from wrestling. Wrestling is a tool that we're using to get a college degree. However they want to use that tool when they're done, some guys go to MMA and start fighting. We got Lucius Van Rensburg, trying to make the Olympic team. We got, a lot of different guys that takes different paths with wrestling. Some of them get into medical school and then they never step on the mat again. So we have kind of like a weird mixture of what guys are doing after they're done wrestling. So it's exciting to see because we're pretty young still, and I want to see what my guys do after college wrestling.
What advice would you give those athletes out there looking to get into coaching after their playing career?
I'm pretty good at identifying guys that want to be coaches. I ask a lot of questions, and if they want to be coaches, I usually keep them around as my GA and mentor them, and then they could go ahead and get a high school coaching job. So we have a good track record of our GAs getting head coaching jobs or assistant coaching jobs right away. Like especially in the local school systems here in Georgia. So if I could find a coach that if I could find a wrestler that wants to be a coach, I identify him and then get him on my side and teach him the ropes right away, and make sure they're ready to go make some lifestyle changes and help out the next generation of wrestlers.
What advice would you give those head coaches that are looking to build their own wrestling program and build their own legacy in wrestling?
It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be like, oh, this and that. And recruiting is really important, but you got to recruit for the right fit. You got to recruit for the institution. You know what I mean? You got to recruit people that are going to survive in your institution. Sometimes we take chances and get guys, but you can't give too many chances. So it's a balance, and I'm still trying to figure out myself. If I tell you I knew everything, I'll be lying to you. So it's just figuring out who you are and finding people that inspire you, and finding coaches that support you. And if you do that, you're going to create a great environment. And it's just hard. It's not easy. You got recruiting, you got fundraising, you got to be the CEO of your wrestling program. So it takes a lot. So you have to make sure you equip yourself mentally and physically, and you surround yourself with good people, so you're not doing it by yourself.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Life Men's Wrestling Program app?
So for me, you can find me at OM1ACOSTA. So Omi Acosta. That's on Instagram, or Life View Wrestling on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. YouTube. We're all over the place, so you can find us everywhere. Life View Wrestling or Omi Acosta on Instagram. So if you have any questions about recruiting, coaching, or anything you would like to know about Life View Wrestling or wrestling as a whole, you could send me a DM, and I'm gladly to help you out and give you some pointers.
Thank you again for your interview, and best luck in your future.
Thank you, brother.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Omi Acosta, for your interview, and best luck in your future at Life University.
Lucha, thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.